Hey everyone. So listen, I'm not going to do a big build up this time, unless you've been living underneath a rock. You probably know this guy, Chase McAllister. How you doing, my friend?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for the accolades, because I might be known. I don't think I'm that known,
I
but
think way more known than you are. I spent about 6 hours the other day going through everybody in our industry that does a podcast, and you've been on all of them. So I think that everybody probably knows who you are. If you don't, I'll give you a quick little setup. But built agencies, IMOs, lead vendors. I'll say this just for it's my podcast, so surely I've got an ounce of credibility. So I'll put it all on this. Normally, when I have guests on here, they got a story, they got something to tell, they accomplished something, and hopefully I can get some value out of them and give to my people. You may not learn shit on this podcast, but I promise you're going to be entertained. Well, in all seriousness, like I've got a major head cold. I've had it for a week. I postponed this conversation for 3 different times just because I'm afraid that I can't keep up with your brain, for an hour straight on a podcast. But we're going to gamble today and assume that that's not a problem. Um,
you're gonna be fine,
I,
pal. You're gonna be
I-
just fine.
you'll make me look not stupid.
Yeah, I make a lot of people look not stupid, and that just, I guess, comes with being stupid.
So if I got to wrap you up in that bubble, and I asked you this question and you didn't give me an answer, but how to define you? To me, you are one of the brightest minds in our industry when it comes to marketing. I mean, you're out there, dude, and that's what it takes. It's a little bit like Elon Musk and all the leaders of industry that they're a little out there,
Yeah,
uh, and I've listened again to all of your podcasts, and they all start off with, "Hey Chase, tell me your resume and what's your story." I'm not going to start off with that crap. But we might get into some of your stories, but I want to try and go a different level of depth. I want to talk with you and try and get our audience to really get into your mind. Because just take my word for it, I have not met anybody in the 20 years I've been in the industry that's more out there, and that out there thing I'm talking about, creating results when it comes to marketing. And so I want to ask you a couple just real direct questions here in the get with that in mind.
let's go.
All right. And then you'll get a chance to show off your crazy personality here as we go. What do you think the biggest thing that agents that are out there marketing misunderstand about marketing? I mean, we all make a living and it's all based on how good of a marketer you are, more so than it is how good of a salesperson you are.
Yeah, I think there's two sides of that, because there's like direct marketing, meaning like paid ads, where it's to generate a direct result right away, and then there's marketing like building brand and more of an organic marketing approach, right? What I would say the biggest misunderstanding that people don't understand on paid ads is that you're not. And I think this is with sales and marketing in general, is that you're not selling a product and you're not marketing a product. You market the problem that you want to solve on a sales call. And so you market to the problem. And so if you just break that down, right? You need to identify the problem that your product solves. And I'm not talking about, let's use a lead company, for example. The problem is solved because it's generating somebody to call, right? No. The problem is that insurance agents don't have a predictable system. They are constantly going from lead vendor to lead vendor. That's the problem a lead vendor should market, right? Or an insurance, right? We're not marketing the fact that they're going to have coverage and they're going to be able to leave XYZ amount behind or get XYZ living benefits. We're marketing the problem that's going to happen when they don't get coverage, and the problem that they've thought about continuously, the liability that they are to their family. And so, or the liability that they have to their assets, right? We're marketing the problem that we want to solve on the sales call, but the problem that's actually going to resonate with that ideal avatar. So if you break that down even further, to understand the problem that you market on any ad to solve on a sales call, you have to understand the person that you're speaking to, because you need to understand what their true problems are. And without doing like niching down or at least targeting a specific demographic, you can't really market effectively. So what do I mean by that? Well, that's why there's final expense. That's why there's mortgage protection. At its core, it's still an insurance product. But but marketers needed a way to package it to speak to a problem ultimately. And then carriers built actual products around it eventually. Right. And so at every core, it's speaking to a specific demographic to understand the problem. Now, if I answered the question on organic marketing, I made a post about this literally yesterday in my story. Especially in 2026, anti-marketing is the best way to generate business in now. What do I mean by anti-marketing? Is that I am not marketing any product. I'm only resonating with my viewers. And I might ask for something. Like I made a reel yesterday, and we're looking for some annuity agents. I made a post like, if you're an annuity agent, DM me.
Yeah, except
There's no context. It's just, but it's anti-marketing. I'm not here to tell you what it is. Here's all the bells and whistles. Here's the shiny object. People are tired of that. So how do you anti-market? Well, I'm continuously. I've been on a kind of a hiatus for the last 3 months, but before I posted 9.9% of all my content had nothing to do with my product or what I was trying to offer you. It had everything to do with showing you who I am, giving you direct access to be beside me as if you're my friend and you're involved in these conversations within my life and my workplace, which ultimately allows you to like, respect, and trust me. And if I post something direct and a direct marketing type and I speak to a problem and here's the thing I'm sort of to solve, but most of the time I'm marketing just me and life and making it relatable to everybody and not selling somebody and just organically filming what's going on.
So let me set this up real quick, Chase.
It's tenfold now, right?
Let me square up what you're saying as I understand it. I mean, when we're talking about insurance agents, there's two reasons they're marketing.
Yeah.
They're either marketing to recruit other agents or they're marketing to find leads. Okay, those are kind of the two things that I can see is why they're spending time on social media trying to do anything. And then it comes down to if it's the leads, they have two options. They can buy leads or they can create leads. When it comes to creating leads, or I guess this would work on the recruiting side too, there's the long game and there's the short game. And you're talking a lot about the long game of building a following, getting people to trust you, like you, relate to you, so you can turn the switch on every once in a while that makes the phone ring.
But
Am I
but
right?
I would
Yeah. Correct me if
no,
I'm
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
no. Correct me if I'm reading it wrong. Is that where you're kind of?
No, you're nailing it. But now in 2026, organic isn't the long game. It's right now, especially with Instagram. Instagram is promoting 10 plus posts a day. And how do you do that? You just do that by like idea to post needs to be in seconds. Like you have a comment you want to make, you have an idea you want to talk about, you need to just post it as a reel continuously and start resonating with people. And that will always be bringing in active stuff. And in today's social media, it's quicker than what it used to be. You
Okay.
could have a couple posts that resonate and hit a lot quicker and a lot easier than what it was a year ago. So I would argue that you have to do both, and you have to do both like for direct as well. But there's just different ways you do it.
So on one of your other podcasts, I heard, and I want to. This wasn't on my agenda, but you just reminded me of it.
While you're asking this question, I'm grabbing a water that I forgot right there.
What's that?
I'm listening. I'm just grabbing my water.
So on the other podcast I heard you talking to, you said something about the 8-second rule.
Yeah.
That really hit home with me as somebody who's somewhat of an influencer in building channels, where you basically were saying that most of your stuff should just be a couple sentences and you're out. That's very foreign to how it was not very long ago.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that for me.
It used to be like hook, story, offer, and that would work really well. It doesn't anymore. It's more action, reaction, and no CTA. That works extremely well. And so you need to do things that entertain and bring volume of views that trickle over into potentially an education or a clip of this podcast, right? But most of it should be you. Should be a highlight reel of you, but not a highlight reel, like real you. And if you can do that and not care about what people think about you, because we all do, and try to be this face news broadcaster that most do. And we've even talked about a certain individual that is die hard that, and you got to let people in. And if you let people in and show people who you are, you will get far more views because you will outdo everybody else that's not. And the people that get it are blowing up quick. There's an individual, I won't mention his name, but he in 3 months went from 10,000 followers to a million in the insurance game. And all he did was just constantly post 12 times a day. I had our team dissect his entire profile on like how many times he posted, what was in the post, why did it go viral so quick, and how did he get that many followers? And it came down like he was posting 10 to 12 times a day constantly. And it was just little skits, maybe one of him dancing, maybe him taking calls and dancing between calls that probably hints at him. But he did something that he could do, post thousands of videos on, because the algorithms are promoting more posts per day.
That's it. That's the word right there I was waiting to come out. This is all now about the algorithm, not
Yeah.
what makes sense, right? And that's what I picked up from you when you were talking about that last time is explain to everybody how the algorithm works as far as they put your videos out there, they test it. If it's
Yeah.
got a good view rate or they watch all of the video that gets pushed out to more, and then that just compounds from there.
So I'll just use Instagram, for example. Instagram has trial reels. So that means you can post a reel that's not on your profile and it only shows to people that aren't your following. And so you can A/B test different beginnings of the video. And you can post 6 to 7 of the same video on trials and see which one works and then post it to a main feed. But what we found, a little hack that tells us exactly how the algorithm's working, is that we started doing meme posts. I started doing meme posts where it's just like a random meme, has nothing to do with me, maybe a meme about business, and we're posting it in the background. I have one that did 15 million views, just one reel. It was like a funny video, but it hit 15 million views and it's not on my profile. It's running in the background. But every single post after that for the next 60 to 90 days was hitting 30, 40,000 views because Instagram knows that, hey, people are actually engaging with this person's content, right? When you post something, it's on Facebook, like Facebook's feed, like statuses, and their algorithm hasn't changed for a long time. When you post something on Facebook, it's going to send it to 20 people. Out of that 20 people, the percentage of who liked it, it gets shown to 40 people and it compounds. The algorithms still work all in that way, but they're using different KPIs and different data points that increase that algorithm. And like you can never guess it. It's like kind of guess the stock market. Things change and go. But what we see works right now is over posts and less professional posts.
Let them know who you
Yeah.
are. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really your claim to fame. If I knew nothing about you, if we haven't been talking a lot for the last month and I knew nothing about you other than watch your other podcasts, the thing that is abundantly clear is that authenticity and
Yeah.
just be yourself. Now, if you're a dick, they're not going to follow you, but if you're funny, if you're intriguing, if you're cool, if you're relatable, just that alone, if you're doing a lot, is enough to build followership. Yes.
You don't even need to be relatable. You don't even need to be funny. That's the beautiful part about right now in the social space, is that if you can just be you with unapologetically you, and that might be in the silliest way where you're sitting on your couch, literally in your blankets, and you look ridiculous, but you're making a post. You're not trying to be something you're not. You're not trying to look good for the video. You're just posting the video. People get that realness from you. You're going to be pushed out of all the other noise right now. And it's a beautiful thing because, I mean, yeah, you're right. That's everything I've always pushed is be unapologetically you. And the reason for that is I heard a quote. It's actually from my grandma. She mentioned it to me, and I'm sure she got it from somewhere else. But she's like, on the other side of embarrassment is true freedom. And most people are so scared to be embarrassed that they put a wall around themselves because they don't want people to know, like maybe they're not rich, maybe they don't actually have real Rolexes, and they don't want people to know that because they hold themselves to a higher standard than the life that they actually live. Right. And that's a lot of people. So if you can just be true to yourself and show that, you're 20 million times ahead than the rest. Right. And be okay to be embarrassed because I've done some pretty embarrassing things online, but it's true freedom. I don't have to apologize for anything, and I don't have to be careful what I say because it's me. I can say what I want to say and I'm comfortable in that. I don't have to lie. I don't have to bullshit. I live an honest life. And at the end of the day,
And it's less work. When I first started my channel 6, 7 years ago, I bet you for the first 3 or 4 years, there were very few words that I said that I hadn't scripted out, thought through chronologically, and that was a job. Where now I just jump on and talk, and if there's dead air sometimes, or if it doesn't come off in chronological order, so what?
yeah.
that part of it makes it not seem like a job, and it's just funner. And based on what you're saying, it's better results that way anyway.
I mean, I've spoke like 167 times in the last probably 2 years, and I've never planned a speech. Like, well, I've given myself some talking points, like, "Here's what I wanna talk about,"
Yeah.
but I've never tried to make a presentation or anything because I've been so authentically me and in my surroundings and brutally truthful with myself that the things I talk about, I know and I can just talk about.
Yeah.
And too many people are trying to be this expert. They're trying to be an authority when they could just be themselves and they'll actually make way more money and build a way bigger brand, not trying to be that person. Because you're not. Like, I'm not. I mean, if you look way back when, and I probably have videos of me just trying to be that person, and then you realize like I'm not a fraud, and you're gonna get imposter syndrome in anything you do, but as long as you're true to yourself, I think you'll always succeed. Because a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that people idolize that have they're hollow.
Yeah.
There's no sustenance. At once they shut off the Zoom call, they're lonely, scared, frantic,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Just like
empty people. All the money in the world doesn't change the fact, like, I think I'm glad to have learned that early, and I'm fortunate to learn that early that, like, it doesn't do anything for you. It only just makes, things a little easier in your life and affords you time. But if you're not grounded in yourself and take the time for yourself and deal with your inner bullshit, all the money in the world isn't gonna fix it. And I think that's cliche, but it is true. Like, um, yeah.
So let me go back to one of the comments that
Sorry.
I made in the very beginning, and I want to see what your take on this is. First of all, tell me if you disagree. But everybody out there in the insurance business, the hardest thing they have to do every day is try and find a way to get in front of qualified prospects on a continual basis. Like that's the hardest thing in our industry. I've said that a million times. There are different marketing approaches you can do out there, from door knocking to telemarketing, seminars. Most of the people out there in one way, shape, or form are centered around leads, which, okay. I think that that's something that everybody's got to do for a while. If they're really a pro in this business, you've only got to get to a certain amount, and then you can turn 400 clients into 800 and never have to prospect again. But when it comes to leads, I said earlier that I think there's two different options. You're either buying them or you're creating them. Which one do you like best? For the guy that doesn't even have a channel right now. He's new in the insurance
It's you
business.
the this is gonna be crazy coming from me, but self-generating, even with the IMO that I had and the call center that we built, I still didn't wanna completely self-generate. I know how marketing works, and I know how fluctuation works, and you need to have resources. So for me, it's I'd rather have a good relationship with a great media team that I'm purchasing these leads from, and I get a fixed price, and they can deal with the fluctuations and ad accounts and all that jazz. That ultimately, if I'm an insurance agent just focused on my agency, I'm going to just make sure that we're always going to be steady because my money comes from steady lead flow, right? And so I'll always have multiple options. We can run internally if we need to, but scaling, you're gonna need multiple media buyers. And I know how the game works, so I understand that like you're going to eventually need to have a media team with $1 million a day lines of credit with Facebook. Like, you don't need $1 million a day, but eventually you hit a scale that you're going to need other resources to generate. Now, single agent, you can self-generate, but I also would say I can do the plumbing in my house, but I would rather pay a plumber to do it right
Do what
and
you
not
got.
have to focus on it. Like, we have a place here. We don't own a home. I rent because I don't want to spend the time dealing with, the furnace going out. We had a massive plumbing leak and the ceiling fell. I don't have to deal with that. And I don't have the time to deal with that. It costs me less money just to rent the place we're at and have some investment properties.
Yeah.
But the same premise is like with anything, I want to make sure that like it's just done right and I get a fixed price and I know that's predictable. If I'm a single agent, I shouldn't be spending time trying to be the marketer, the I already have to be the bookkeeper. I already have to be all these other roles, adding another role just to save you a couple bucks. I don't know. And most of the time when you're trying to self-generate coming from the sales role is that sales always wants marketing to do the job for them. And they realize that there's only so much the marketing can do. And there is a line where it crosses, and agents will always try to find a better way, easier way when it's just pick up the phone and call your fucking leads.
Yeah, and it's the old jack of all trades, master of none. I still mentor individual agents every once in a while. I talk to a lot of people that are in tough positions, things aren't working out for them. And it always comes back to marketing, and they're buying leads somewhere. Everybody almost always has got a problem with the lead vendor. I tried this place and I tried that place and those leads suck. And I bought leads before. I mean, honestly, I've only bought them just so I could do them enough so I could talk about them on this channel, not because that's really how I did it. But I bought leads before and had some that were good and some that were bad. And to me, you got somebody that knows why you're calling. They put their hand in the air to say, yes, I'd like to talk to somebody about it. That's all you really, to me, that's as good a lead as somebody can hope for. It really comes down to a lot more to process, use your line. Are you actually calling the damn people and doing the job itself? But I tend to agree with you. Delegate to the people that specialize in certain areas. Spend most of your time, as much as your time as you can, doing what you're good at and what you want to be doing.
I'd also say it's kind of vertical specific too. Like to my answer, simplified issue, that's valid. What I answered before, that would be for simplified issue. Annuities, though, like I think if you're getting into advanced markets, you need to find strategic referral partners and have be the product gap that other maybe companies or different segments or different sectors getting relationships there, right? Like kind of what our relationship started with too, right?
Yeah.
And so having different relationships that are already marketing for something else, but we're able to take a cross sell or referral from them,
Yep.
especially in the advanced market space, because relationship is everything, especially when it's like AUM stuff, like how they come to you, right? I've always found that annuities, if you're running like paid ads and just going after just straight lead gen, it's kind of a dime and a dozen. There's a couple people I know that do it really, really well internally, but that's why people still do seminars in annuity space because running ads for annuities, you're just gonna get the people that
It's
want
tough.
the savings, but don't have,
It's tough. It's expensive. 2 years ago, I spent, you know, 10 grand just to run some annuity leads again, just so I could do a podcast series about it. And, you're talking three, four, $500 per lead. So, to a lot of individual agents out there, that's a risky investment to spend $10,000 to try somebody out.
Mhm.
Downside, in my opinion, that kind of pisses me off is that you're talking a 5 to 6x markup, sometimes 10x, for the expense factor. I could generate an annuity lead probably for $10, and companies are out there selling it for 500. I think there's a real opportunity in our industry. Don't want to quite get into that yet. I'm not quite ready to release some of that stuff. There's a hole in our industry that there's gatekeepers to the
Yeah.
core lead business.
And I've been seeing what you guys are working on.
I
You
think,
got my stamp of approval, Jeremy. You got
yeah,
my stamp of approval.
I'm not ready to release it yet, but here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some options
Mhm.
for people that are looking for advanced market leads that are sick of paying X what they cost, and they don't have the time to go out and learn how to build it all themselves online. We'll come back to that. Tell me, Chase, tell me, this one's about you. Tell me what you're doing right now. I know you built agencies, you had an IMO, you were a lead vendor. It's been a little bit since you've been out there in the public eye promoting what you were doing. And I know what you're doing right now
Yeah.
is a different animal than anything you've ever done before. And to be honest with you, I've never even seen anything like it. And so let me set this up just a little bit for you, then I'm going to let you take off. If you're an agent, a skilled communicator with follow-up discipline, and you're struggling a little bit financially, what Chase is going to talk to you about right now might be the most innovative way for you to make some extra money that'll also supplement your insurance business that I've ever heard of. That's your setup.
Mhm.
Rock and roll.
So I sold the marketing company that I had and the my shares in the IMO, and the partners there taking it to new scales, and I still help them. But through that, was in touch with some private equity firms, some venture capitalists, and family offices. And my wife Alexis had been doing business funding for like a year or so leading up to that. Her new partners had been doing it for like 6 years. So when I sold, I took a month or two to be retired. She'll probably tell you it was a couple days, but I wasn't working 12-hour days because I wanted to. I was maybe working 2-hour days just to help around
Yeah.
the house and with the business. And so what we built, Vestor Finance, is a funding solution for businesses. So we do capital raising, debt financing, and then tax credit applications and tax credit buyouts. We also do like real estate financing, et cetera, private, non-traditional. And so why does that matter to an insurance agent? I think obviously coming from insurance, that industry is pretty archaic. It's typically a bunch of old guys that email docs to one another and, are buying and selling billion-dollar pieces of paper. And we had the opportunity to say, hey, let's use our marketing knowledge and our knowledge from building and scaling IMO to 1,500 agents and then apply it to this business. As business funding, it's, kind of an upper echelon of finance, I would say, but it's the clientele is extremely affluent and kind of cracked the code on the marketing side. And now we're doing business funding for businesses. And so, like, for example, I just did a $15 million capital raise for a company. It was 7.5 in debt and 7.5 in equity. And then I'll pay $300,000 in commissions. And it was probably an hour and a half of like document collection on those big deals. Those don't happen all the time. But even on the tax buyouts, yeah, we have the opportunity to make ten to $60,000 on a single deal. Our average is probably about like $15,000 on one of those. There's some process behind it. It is like annuities where it takes some time, case getting through underwriting, et cetera. But we've found that it is an extremely lucrative industry. And if I can put venture capitalists and VC funds, as well as hedge funds and private equity firms, family offices in the pockets of consultants, insurance agents, bookkeepers, CPAs, et cetera, it's an amazing way for them to make money. And nobody's really been able to do that, where we built a platform that you have basically direct access to these funds. We do the underwriting in the platform, and we take all the information within a couple clicks. So it's not a crazy amount of work other than just following up with the client to get certain docs. Certain products are a little easier, certain products take a little bit more time, but the product itself, we built it like a carrier and an IMO at the same time. So we allowed for agencies to downline agents and make commission splits on that, and ultimately scale and grow and recruit, and then pay out great commissions as well. And then it got to the point where we realized, if I can get a business owner of say $1 million.
Well, hold on,
to
Chase.
pay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You skipped over a step here. You said some big words that some insurance agents aren't going to even follow. Start with the easy process. Start with the first thing you talked to me about you've got 170 some people that are fielding phone calls right now you're creating leads to them. And a lot of them are people that had money owed to them from the government back from COVID. That's never been paid out.
Correct.
And so the get the phone call thing is real easy. You've got business owners out there that are owed
Waiting for this.
$1 million to $2 million. And all of a sudden you can get them 85 to 90 cents on the dollar. They're calling in. They're all in. So
Yeah, there's no selling. It's
Yeah.
not selling. It's just, do you have the right documentations and can we get you approved?
Right.
Right.
So that's the easy one, way more than capital builds. So start with that. And
So a lot of where agents start is we do the tax buyout. So whether that's a tariff credit, an ERC credit, or an R&D credit, they come in, they have a tax credit with the IRS. That is a treasury note. So basically the IRS, it's a note that says the IRS owes you XYZ. The bank buys that note at 92 cents on the dollar. So it's not a loan to the client. They're not obligated or no longer liable if the IRS just decided not to pay. The bank knows that it's Uncle Sam's and they're going to pay. So they'll pay 92 cents on the dollar, and clients are coming in. They're waiting 2-3 years for this money. I mean, we had one come in today, $3.6 million. He's waiting from the IRS, just sitting there. And so it's 8% loss on waiting for the 3 years that it might take to get it. He'll make more than 8%. And most business owners would over 3 years with the 3 point, whatever it might be. And so it is not selling. You're just making sure that they get the right documents to you, and our system is seamless in that sense, and they can invite their CPA, their bill keeper, whoever handles those specific documents, and makes document collection extremely simple. We get an offer from the bank, and then in 7 to 14 business days, they're getting paid out that fund. And we pay, up to almost 1.52% sometimes on that deal. It's great commission. And if I can get that guy $3.6 million, just shy of that, he's willing to listen to whatever else I have to present to him.
so angles the, hey, you can make, $10,000 to $20,000, and all you really are doing is fielding an easy phone call that they already wanted. You got to help them through the process of collecting 3 or 4 documents. The rest of it's done. And now You get paid for it, but now I think you're about ready to go in and talk about where the back end is for insurance agents.
Yeah. Think about two buckets: annuity guys and group health guys. These guys have massive employee lists. So group health is fantastic. Employee benefits is fantastic. But then also annuity, these are extremely affluent people. Like they have money. And so not only do they have
App,
business assets, they have personal assets.
yeah. And they just had a bunch of money put in their lap that yesterday they didn't think it was ever coming.
And you got it for them.
And
So
you're
now you're the money guy.
yeah,
Now anything around money, he's willing to listen to you.
yeah.
Or she, right? And that creates a so when you think about it, it's really just the front end marketing. It's at its core, it's a market funnel. Like I'm gonna bring these people in for a tax buyout. I'm gonna send in some documents that I had them upload, and then I'm gonna talk to them about retirement options.
Yeah.
And I got paid a crazy amount of money for my marketing funnel. I don't
Yeah.
have to pay for lead. It is kind of a no brainer. And the guys that have been working it, it just sets up a relationship. The type of clientele that you're working with is a huge value. That's one of, from my point of view, in the business that we're in, is the biggest value and the biggest commodity and asset out of that business is the relationships that we build, because we are talking to, the 1%, basically the 2 to 1%, let's say, of people in the world, and those relationships pay dividends more so than not anything else, right?
And it's not just, okay, I got a guy $3 million, maybe I can write an annuity. He's the business owner of sometimes 100, 500 employees. You really work that right. Now you're the advisor for that entire company. So it just got layers and layers. And I'll
We
say that,
did.
I'll say this too. The reason Chase and I originally met was because of an agent that's doing this program. And then I don't know his exact numbers, somewhere in the first 2 to 3 weeks, he had over $10 million in the pipeline. Well, so you're talking a pretty nice commission check. And that's not only making the commission from it, but that's over, I think, if I remember right, that was over 12 or 14 just different clients that are
Yeah.
now relationships with that you can go in, do advanced market stuff with them. And if you really go the full length of it, you're the company's new guy. And that's where the group health thing comes in.
We have an agent today. He's posted in our Discord community. He said one of his clients that he did $1 million tax buyout for just referred him to his best friend, who's a real estate developer and is building an entire subdivision in Florida. And they got him like $7 million add on to his like refinance basically on
Yeah.
it, which he made additional money from that. And so just the relationships you build. And now we know a real estate developer, which, come in handy at any point in time. It's the relationships you build, and it's you're not selling them anymore. You are now an expert to them. It's not, hey, let me just go over this program too, right? Instead of let's review your taxes and they opted into an ad or whatever it might be, and it's specifically to annuities. We're just here to find the best solutions for your money, not as a financial advisor, but business funding access. And ultimately that is shown to be a very lucrative, not only industry on the front end, but the back end cross sells is crazy too.
Well, I mean, just if you were in advanced market stuff, if you're selling life, long-term care and annuities, and I could just put you on the phone all day long, forget whatever reason, forget you're getting paid to do it. If I could just put you on the phone all day long with business owners, successful people, and you will figure out a way to work through that relationship to find business, you're in the wrong industry. I mean, just that by itself, you're in contact with the right people all day long. I mean, I kind of know this, I'm kind of setting you up here, but, if there are agents, there are people out there that are interested in learning more about this, and potentially doing it. Are you
Mhm.
in the place right now that you've got your lead gen set up enough to where you can provide?
Yeah, we have an application a process. It's just like you can apply to become a partner, but it's just handing it anybody and everybody. And then there's a certification process. There's a couple courses you'll have to go through just so you understand all the products that are out there, and then you could get access to buy into the ad campaigns and then start sending out and fulfilling applications. So it is a little bit of a requirement. We don't just hand it to anybody. Ultimately, right now, single agents reach out to Jeremy or even Zach. But if there's any agencies that are looking to add this product that as well, like we would definitely handle those. But right now, I think we're pretty well limited on just single agents. But apply anyways. You
Yeah,
never know.
yeah. Well, if you want, yeah, that's an easy way to do it. Just email me or comment on this, and I'll get you in touch. with chasers people. I think it's a really great opportunity for talented advanced market people.
Mhm. It is stupid money for similar, if not less work. Maybe some more long-term deals, like, you're scheduling 4 or 5 appointments maybe, but the work isn't that hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just building pipeline, and that starts to pay off, and then the insurance money starts coming too, so yeah, it's a great opportunity. I'm not gonna sell anybody on it. If they're interested, go through the certifications and see if it's for you. But yeah, we're seeing to be major successful, and I'm super proud of Alexis and where she's taking it. So
All right. So I always kind of wrap up podcasts with a little bit of a grandiose question. And this one is a perfect one for you, I think. Right. Something happens, lightning strikes, and all of a sudden, tomorrow, you're out of business. You lose everything. And the only thing you have is your iPhone and social media. Let's presume you want to stay in this industry. What are you doing? What's your next 90 days look like?
I would just DM 200 people for like marketing consultant or run some ads for them because I have that like at core skill. I'll just run some ads, get myself a place to live at least, and then scale the business from there. But I kind of did it. Not that I start with zero, but like do I lose my brand and my following
Yeah.
too?
Yeah. Your
Oh,
brand.
so nothing. Okay, so I'm cold. I'm just going and straight up adding insurance agents all day. I'm adding like 100 insurance agents to my Facebook every day. Everybody that accepts, I'm just sending them a DM. I'm going to post social media on exactly what I do or how I can help and to speak to their problems every single day in like long form messages. So when I DM them, they go and look and see, oh, hey, actually, this guy can help me. And then I'll just manage the people that are responding until I get the appointment set and sell them on maybe some marketing or even come in as like, hey, you don't have to pay me, but I'll take a percentage of your sales.
Yep.
Because I have that skill. If I didn't have that skill, I would just start DMing people as well and ask for opportunities. Hey, are you hiring a assistant, appointment setter, et cetera? Whatever I have to do to get it money. It's like,
How did you get into business?
that's a great question. We need another podcast to answer that one.
Mm.
But so I explain it this way. I'll explain it this way. I went to the front of the club. I waited in line. The bouncer said I couldn't come in. So I snuck in the back door and I got to the VIP section where all the insurance agents and at that time, big dogs, and there's still probably big dogs, were sitting. So I sat down with them and then they told the security I was good. And then eventually, you start being a regular at the club, I guess, in its simplest form. But I started marketing an agency doing like web design and ads. We landed an insurance client and got a good result. And that's just went straight into insurance, realized like there's a lot of money to be made. And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
And you've just been all over the industry, though.
Yeah, I think it also came from like I understood social media really early on too. Like and Facebook specifically, like Facebook's my top converter and it still is, which I have more followers and get more views on Instagram, but my Facebook is still converts really high for the company I sold still. And so what I did was I was just posting every day on Facebook, but added 5,000 and then started posting every single day. Funny stuff. Stop scrolling, call your leads, like just statuses. About what I did and I constantly did it. And it resonated with some people. And then I went from 5,000 friends to like 30,000 followers, mostly insurance agents. And that was just getting on podcasts and like this. But in the early stages, it definitely took off.
Well, we're going to do this again. And I know that
Yeah.
I feel like every podcaster and podcaster guests say that at the end of every podcast. But when you alluded to it a little bit ago, but together we're already way through the process. We're about to really help the lead industry when it comes to life and annuity and advanced market leads. With your knowledge and some of my reach, I think that in a real quick period of time, we're going to fill a gap that's never been filled before. So we are going to get back on do this podcast here this summer.
Yeah. And I think it's a sweet little pocket that like we realized we're going to keep it pretty tight knit. Like there's a lot of money to be made. And some people aren't deserving of that. Some people are, though. And if that's you, apply now. But I appreciate you jumping on. And yes, let's do this again, even in the next couple of days or next weeks. I'm always available for you, man. You're an amazing guy. And I appreciate you having me on today. And, ever since I had a chance to like meet you, it kind of clicked. Like, I really like this guy, even though he's like obviously a lot older than me. But I really do like you. And there's very few people that are just raw and you can tell you can trust them
You know,
in this world.
it's a
And greed, you're not a greedy guy, and that's a big thing. So I appreciate you, man.
thinning hair doesn't exactly tell you the age. I could be 29 right now.
Mine's getting bad. The hairlines keeps correcting back, dude.
The only time I've
I'm
ever
31 though, and I look like I'm 50. So like, I hope I plateau. You know, I hope it just stops right here. Give me a couple years before. But
this might be the only podcast I've ever done where I didn't have a hat on. Lucky Brand refuses to give me a
I appreciate
sponsorship
it.
deal, so
I'll go crazy hair for you too. We'll go. We'll look wild.
Totally love you, man. Appreciate your time. I hope people picked up something from this. If you didn't, you just weren't listening close enough. You're a genius from the marketing standpoint. You know, we got a little bit all over the place, but I
I
think,
think, sorry to cut you off, but I think we're going to do a series, me and you, on marketing and really, really hone in on some actual education for some people.
yeah,
I think that'd be great.
I think we should do that. And sometimes I think you and I actually need a ruler to stay in between the lines. But I think that we should come back and do this in the next couple of weeks where we just talk about marketing and even a specific type of marketing to where somebody can take it and apply it tomorrow. I think that would be a
Yep.
great idea.
Cool,
Yeah.
dude. Well, I appreciate you. If I could just leave one last little
Yeah.
thing, it's like one of the biggest piece of advice that I could honestly give is just call your fucking leads.
I knew that was coming. His marquee line.
See you later, guys.
All right, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate you.